What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I hope you're doing well. This will be my last video of the day before I venture forth into freedom. Wisconsin has been mostly unlocked as of last night, and I have plans. My local bartender has lost out on many of tips from me, so I will be going out and doing the best I can to stimulate the local economy, visiting all my favorite watering holes. Rip my liver. But before I do all of that, there is some interesting news going on with Marvel, and this is pretty epic level virtue signaling for a comic book shop owner in a time when comic book shops are closing and the amount of decent comic books on the shelves are fewer and farther in between. In particular, in the Star Wars world. Speaking of Star Wars, did you know it's the 40th anniversary of one of the best movies of all time? Huge shout out to this video sponsor. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Displate. And a little bit different kind of ad this time. I'm actually going to unbox something. They started a limited edition Displate run where there's only going to be 100 copies produced at a time. So maybe by the time you see this ad, this particular design might be sold out, but every single Thursday they add new ones for you to check out. And let's see what this one looks like. All right, so standard Displate packaging, always coming. Ooh, it's wrapped in a giant envelope. Yeah. Oh, dang, that looks cool.
I am your father.
Now this is for the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. Very cool. And if you don't get one of those sweet limited editions, they have a huge selection of brand new Star Wars, among others, that are currently 40% off. They've got these kind of retro, funny looking ones. All Star Wars designs are 40% off with code EMPIRE40. And if you don't like Star Wars, you can score 35% off the rest of the site just by using my link in the pinned comment down below. Displate has stuck strongly by this channel, especially during a time when most advertisers are pulling back like crazy right now. So if you're stuck at home, get some sweet Displates to put up on your wall and use my link in the description or pinned comment below to save a huge amount of money today. Now, I absolutely understand that there is rarely bad press, and this is likely to be a net positive for this particular comic book shop owner, but this is also one of the most hilariously dumb virtue signals I've ever seen. That's right, a comic book shop has ordered 500 copies of Marvel's New Warriors. Now, of course, that's probably the entirety of what Marvel printed given early demand, but if you don't remember anything about Marvel New Warriors, let's look at how Joe Rogan reacted to it. Joe Rogan reacted to Marvel Comics' indefinitely delayed New Warriors series from writer Dan Kibblesmith and artist Luciano Vecchio earlier this month on his podcast. Rogan had fellow stand-up comedian Kurt Metzger on as a guest who introduced him into New Warriors. When Rogan got a look at Snowflake and Safe Space, he states, "Look how unironically they swapped their gender colors, blue and pink." He added, "It's ridiculous. If you dress them like that, even people who don't want to make fun of you will start making fun of you." Metzger chimes in, "I can't mock you better than you're doing yourself," he adds. "Hey, why don't you make fun of the stupidest woke comic you could think of? That would be my characters." When Rogan gets a look at Trailblazer, he states, "Oh no, that's not a superhero. Her power is eating cake." After reading Trailblazer's description that she receives her power from God, but not the God you are thinking of, he states, "Jesus Christ, I can't do this. I can't." Boy, I'm pretty sure most comic book shop owners probably felt the same. See, the thing is, what people don't understand with the kind of roasting these terrible comics is not that they're bad in existence. They can absolutely exist and be sold to the 7 people that may want to watch or enjoy them. That's fine. But the problem is, if you've ever been into an actual comic book shop, they have limited shelf space. and they have limited opportunities to get people into their stores. And this type of book is not going to get people into comic book shops. Nobody is looking at Marvel's New Warriors and thinking, boy, that makes me really remember X-Men and Wolverine, and making me want to go find my local comic book shop and go buy them. None of the blue-haired weirdos on Twitter are seeing this and thinking, boy, when I get my dad's allowance next month, I'm going to spend it on New Warriors just so I can take a picture of it, put it on Twitter for retweets to own the chuds. I mean, this is just a bad idea executed badly, and now we have comic book shops ordering multiple hundred copies. Why? Virtue signaling. Marvel Comics is still planning on publishing New Warriors, a 5-issue miniseries written by The Late Show with Stephen Colbert writer and producer Dan Kibblesmith. Now, if you've seen The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, you know exactly how this book is going to be. The team is made up of all new heroes with a diverse range of backgrounds, including 2 called Safe Space and Snowflake. One, for some people, this is the worst thing in the world. It's a terrible comic, even though no one has read it yet, and it hasn't even been printed. I don't need to read this book to know it's going to be absolute trash. By the way, this is Bleeding Cool. They're an industry shill website that also has a clear political slant to much of the reporting, and apparently is responsible for the entire edifice of the comic books industry collapsing. Now, again, no, it's not. But again, could Marvel have put together a book that people actually wanted to give to comic book shops to put on their shelves and maybe bring new customers in? Yes, that's our point. Now, do we make it bombastically? Do we use hyperbole? Yes, that's called being an entertainer. But at the end of the day, with limited shelf space in comic book shops, you need the best of the best in there. You don't have time to waste with New Warriors woke comics. Somehow there isn't much hatred over Marvel's clearly virtue signaling to elephantine power pachyderms, which reinvented each of the X-Men and elephants. But we didn't have time on Twitter. A video trailer of the comic for Marvel has been downvoted 226,000 times as opposed to just 4,000 upvotes. Think about that. Take the hilarious internet backlash out of it, okay? It still only got 4,000 upvotes. What does that tell you? That tells you that there is absolutely no interest in this comic book. Whenever every major shill out there was talking about how great and stunning and brave this book was, there was still no interest in this book. Naturally, there have been dozens of YouTube videos from the usual suspects mocking the very existence of the comic and blaming all of the industry's ills on it. Something I thought was amusing considering an earlier example from the mid-70s of a low-selling comic that replaced all of its members with new characters as requested by the company's international sales department, including a controversial hero-led depiction of the Germans, Japanese, and Russians. They seem to work out. Nonetheless, the mocking continued, reaching an apogee on the Joe Rogan Experience in a TV show labeled Joe Rogan Learns About the Most SJW Comic Book Ever. By the way, if you enjoy comic books, please do consider still stopping by your local comic book shop. Something tells me they'll have something for you. If you don't like comics, but you want to enjoy and support content creators, even if it's not me, make today the day you consider clicking that join button you see below the video. It's just like a Twitch subscription. It's just like Patreon, but it absolutely helps level out income craziness here on YouTube, especially with, you never really know when you're going to get hit with that yellow mark. You're never really going to know. So the more people that join, the more security it provides your favorite content creators. But I digress. New Warriors, new opportunities. However, one heroic comic book retailer, I added heroic, has seen the opportunity. Lawrence Docherty of Larry's Comics, it's a big comic book shop, by the way, in Massachusetts, has seen things differently. Politically, Larry is generally on the conservative side of American politics. Why does that matter? Why does that matter, Bleeding Cool? Who's this by? Oh, I just know it's by... Who is it by? Rich. Of course, it's by Rich. Okay. He's the kind of person who might caricature as being against the existence of such a comic. No, nobody's against the existence of this comic. We wonder if there's something better that you could have given your customers than this comic. I mean, isn't that the problem? Comic book shops don't have enough people coming into the store, and wouldn't it be nice if they had a better opportunity to? But anyway, but what Larry cares the most about is whether or not he can sell the comic. He saw millions of views on YouTube and enthusiastically supporting Marvel Comics' decision to still publish a comic. He tells Bleeding Cool, no press is bad press. Marvel's upcoming title, New Warriors, has been taking a beating on social media and beyond. One posting has over 100,000 downvotes. There are way too many eyes on this title for me to dismiss it. My opinion, fans are going to be able to not take a peek. So what he's saying is, he literally says, it's the car crash you pass by on the highway. You try not to look, but you just have to. I ordered 500 first issues. I like my chances. Wow. Does industry shill Bleeding Cool realize that he's making fun of Marvel? That he's saying the only people that are buying this book will be buying it ironically. They'll be buying it because it's so terrible that they just have to see that the mangled wreckage of the comic book industry is something that you just have to stare at as you drive by it on your way to new hobbies. That's pathetic. Imagine wanting to be known for that. They continue. I wonder what percentage of the print run Larry's order may end up making up. Also, what kind of markup will be expecting to make at the end of the week? I mean, who knew what the look at Batman's junk could cause such a fuss? And that was down to The Late Show with Stephen Colbert as well. He's an original solicitation from before everything went terrible. Modern day comics. I mean, this is modern day comics. You make comic books so bad that people buy them ironically. I can't think of a better roast to end this video on. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.